it on? Tininto? Is it on? Is it what? Can I just start? No. Leave that one.
Oh.
No, this one.
I think they have to turn it on up there. Where is it?
No, they have to turn it on.
Yeah.
I think it is switched on.
It's on.
Thank you.
So we're gonna finish right away soon.
What's that?
That one for this side. Is it this one that's on?
I have no idea.
You have no idea. Maybe we should check with two teams.
One, two, one. I at some point in my life, I had a dream of. I used to think emceeing is automatically translate into rap. So I used to think, mic two, mic check, one check. But anyway, I failed there dismally. Colleagues, esteemed guests, and students, executive management, very good afternoon. And I think I will keep it safe because I do know that the event is being live streamed. So I'll keep it safe to Molweni because it is one of the greetings that you can use at any time of the day. So to those who are joining us online, Molweni, and that is a South African way. My name is Andy Swamkhasi, and this is the International Women's Day celebration at the Cape Peninsula University of Technology. I do have a disclaimer though. You are stuck with me for the next 2.5 hours. So you do not have a choice. But we'll try and have some bit of fun. Not that you have much of a choice anyway. So in Africa, we are known for being so cautious when it comes to time. Like literally, we are so cautious when it comes to time. So our program is so strict as far as time is concerned. And I think I should say, this is the first time that I ever get to say this, particularly in the presence of executive management, especially the Vice Chancellor, that with the powers vested in me, I shall now lay the ground rules for the day. It's not every day, guys, when you have powers vested in you. So, please do keep your cell phones on silent. For those who are present here with us in the venue and those who are joining us online, please make sure that your cameras, yes, they are switched off, and of course your microphones are switched off. And I'd like to encourage all the speakers. We are pressed for time. I'd like to encourage all the speakers to ensure that they stick to their time. And without further ado, this is the only time you are allowed to get on social media. Get on that social media. On LinkedIn, it's Cape Peninsula University of Technology. Facebook, Cape Peninsula University of Technology. And of course, on Instagram and Twitter, it is We Are CPUT. Do hashtag us. The official hashtag, Inspire Inclusion. We do break the biases. This is the International Women's Day celebration where we say, women matter, where we say we do not promote certain types of PhDs, such as pull head down, push head down, but we want to promote the red gowns instead. So, without further ado, let us now call on the CPUT choir to give us a musical item. I am told that we'll have a candle lit throughout the event, just to commemorate and to stand in solidarity to the families, the members, the sisters, and to remember those that we've lost due to GBV, but also to stand with those that are currently going through GBV. The choir, please come to the stage. Let us please give another round of applause to the CPUT choir. Right about now, somewhere in South Africa, a woman is being raped, a woman is being murdered, a woman is being underpaid, a woman is being physically, emotionally, and financially abused. We do have the candle lit, and we do hope that by commemorating days like this, we are all standing in solidarity and saying, not in my name. Therefore, our presence here today, for those who are here present and those who are joining us online, it is a sign of saying, we want to inspire inclusion. Ladies and gentlemen, to officially give us a warm welcome to this very important day is none other than the Vice Chancellor and the Principal of the Cape Peninsula University of Technology, and that is Professor Chris Ntlapo. Do you know that, by the way, he is a scientist with a PhD in chemistry, an MSc in chemistry, a BSc honors in chemistry, as well as a BSc in chemistry and mathematics. He has undertaken numerous postdoctoral training sessions in subject-specific fields, as well as in research management and technology transfer. He has trained, supervised, and lectured across South African higher education institutions and has occupied a number of senior positions at the very institutions and science councils. He has presented numerous papers nationally and internationally, as well as known in the international research management field. He is a fellow of the International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry and has worked within Commission 4, where he focused on IUPAC projects. He headed the Department of Chemistry at the University of the Free State before joining the National Research Foundation. At the NRF, he participated in building research capacity and capability within higher education institutions through the development of the national and international strategic partnerships. He led the development of strategic documents and guidelines strengthening higher education's management and leadership capabilities by establishing research collaboration support and sustaining research collaborations. Some of these documents have become the blueprint standards for research capacity and development across higher education institutions in South Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, staff, colleagues, Professor Chris Ntlapo.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mkhasi, for the very kind introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, let me first apologize that I have another engagement hereafter, so I will not sit the entire session. But I felt that it's appropriate that I have to be here. Members of the executive management here present, academic and non-academic staff present here, local and central SRC, particularly the president, our partners, HSSA. I've heard that Ms. Mangoloti is still actually coming. And of course, I will be remiss if I'm not acknowledging the mighty CPUT choir. They are amazing. They are amazing. They never fail us. I'm proud of you. Before I start the presentation, allow me to share with you some statistics, and then I will go to my script. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been very busy this week, and I hosted about 40 German vice-chancellors. And I was looking at the figures relevant to the discussion that you are going to have today. And I said to myself, in the field of engineering, how are we looking like as an institution? And I realized that about 67% of people in engineering, of course, with two big departments being electrical as well as mechanical, 67% male and 33% female. That paints a picture that a lot of work still needs to be done about women in engineering. If we are to compete as a country, like countries like Japan, for example, as well as Germany, you will find that there are more women in STEM. And of course, the whole question of mathematics. They don't actually have what is called this mathematical literacy and technical mathematics. They're doing pure maths. And it's something that we have to look at carefully, because those countries believe that if it can be done, it must be perfect. And I'm saying that at CPUT as well, if we can do something, we should learn to do some of the things, basics, and if we do them, we must do them right. So if it can be done, which of course must, but it must be perfect. And as other people will actually say, if you cannot outplay them, then outwork them. I wanted to say to our people here today that sometimes we are looking like we are doing well. It's not because we are better than anybody else. It's because behind the scene we are working very hard. So if you cannot outplay them, because some people are not natural talent, outwork them. Behind the scene you have to work hard to ensure that we fill that deficit. Program Director, I have acknowledged everybody present here and also online, and I will be hesitant to say good morning or good afternoon or good evening. I will also say molweni, let me take a leaf from you, and say everybody is acknowledged, and as you normally say, that if I happen to have excluded anybody, let the two maxims of law cover me, the maxim in dubio pro reo, and the maxim de minimis non curat lex. It is my distinct pleasure to welcome you to the annual International Women's Day, celebration aptly themed Digital Innovation and Technology for Gender Equality. There are several conferences around the world on women empowerment issues, but I believe that this conference is not the same. And why this conference is not the same? The answer is simple. This is not just another women's conference. It's a movement to build capacity and capability. It is to build and nurture talent. It is to create a community at university. It's to empower women and girls in scientific and technological fields to reach their full potential and thrive in male-dominated fields. Let me share with you fact is that women are grossly underrepresented in STEM fields in sub-Saharan Africa. That is a fact. It is also a fact that we need more girls in Africa in STEM. And the key question is how to get them there. And my observation is that if this is not addressed, if this is not changing, women will remain in jobs that are likely to be replaced by technology. These are low-paying jobs or less economically impactful jobs. And we don't want to fall into that particular trap, where in 1903 we know when Ford Motor Company under Henry Ford were actually discovering a vehicle. And people were actually saying the horse is here to stay. I think it's important that we prepare women to be part and parcel of 4IR technology and thus be part and parcel of STEM. The facts at CPUT are as follows, is that even though we are female dominated, is that from the support that we are giving, we are really doing well because 60% of our female are supported, 59% of which are undergraduate, and we only support out of 2,900, only 41% male. And we are also doing some inroads as far as the high school digital literacy is concerned, math and science. And in Vice Chancellor's prestigious award, we are supporting over 70% females. And they are doing well and they are finishing on record time. I think it's something that we have to be proud of as an institution. To underscore the profundity of the discourse here today and the conference is the extreme acceleration of change we are experiencing in a world gone mad. If I were to change the title, I think it would be appropriate for me to say, this is a presentation in a world gone mad or unhinged world. Because all that we are seeing only one constant. And that constant is what is called change. Some people are saying we are living in what is called the VUCA world. And how do we survive in the VUCA world? I've had a number of discussions at a number of platforms where people are talking about AI, they're talking about ChatGPT, they're talking about 4IR technologies, and how do we ensure that we move together as a unit. And there are a number of movements across the globe, like the Global Women Movement, that's looking at the whole question of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And we should not actually be fooled to think that maths literacy is the way to go. We have to take pure maths, because the fact of the matter is something that we have been doing. I've been talking to colleagues that sometimes people are taking the easy route out, if there is something called an easy route. I've watched year in, year out where provinces are comparing the metric results. They're just taking cold averages to say this is the Free State is number one, is followed by Gauteng or KwaZulu-Natal, and thereafter is followed by the Western Cape, and then the other provinces like Eastern Cape, and people will even provide results to say, no, but when you look at Eastern Cape, because of you still have mud schools, some still studying under a tree, but the truth of the matter is that if I compare the Eastern Cape and the Western Cape on the basis of mathematics, or pure mathematics, the Eastern Cape is doing better than the Western Cape. It's a fact. If I were to rank them accordingly, I can rank this province number 6, and this one I can actually rank to number 2 in terms of pure mathematics. So sometimes we can be fooled by the law of average, because it does not mean if we have 1 feet in boiling water and 1 in ice cold water, then you're okay. You're not okay. So the fact of the matter remains that there are those particular matters of emphasis that we must actually always make at any platform to say, for this country to be able to hold its own and be able to participate in 4IR technologies, we have to ensure that we teach our students pure mathematics. I have had great privileges of meeting many impressive women working in science, and there are many from different walks of life, from different divisions. We have Professor Ngube here. She's the chair in water research. externally funded chairs. And nationally, there are so many of them. We know that this country relies so much on Professor Abdul Karim Kwarisha, because she's globally renowned around the issues of HIV and AIDS worldwide. And she's a woman. So back to the conference. This conference, I know, is big. This conference, I know that there will be bold statement. This conference, yes, I know, is audacious, but I think it's important that the discipline of implementation of some of the key issues that will be raised in these conferences are followed religiously. Ladies and gentlemen, let me just tell you who I am. I know I've been introduced, but let me share you brief things about myself. I know you know me as Christian Shapo, your Vice Chancellor, and I always say I'm a boy from Paul Rue in the Free State. I'm a chemist, and I did my postdoc in Australia at the University of Queensland. But I think it's important to say that I wanted to share with you something here, and I wanted to share with you my tattoo. I think it's the right platform that you don't know that the Vice Chancellor is having tattoos. I want to show you my tattoo. But the sad thing is that sometimes tattoos can be at very awkward places. Young people, they have these tattoos. So I want to share with you my tattoo. But my tattoo is also at a very awkward place. It's in my brain. Let me share with you my brain tattoo. My brain tattoo is that I believe in hard work and grit. I believe that nothing comes from nothing. I believe that we must actually work hard. As I always say in Latin, ex nihilo nihil fit. Nothing comes out of nothing. Out of nothing, nothing comes. I know some people say, but creation happened ex nihilo. They will say creatio ex nihilo. That we are told that the whole creation was out of the word. Then things just happen. I'm not disputing that. People who believe that creatio ex nihilo. But I'm saying for us to be able to change the world, to change our fortune, to change the trajectory of our families, particularly if we are the first generation in the family, there is nothing but hard work that we must actually do. And this is very easy. We are creatures of habit. If you wanted to change your course and perhaps change the whole fortune of a family, it's a matter of understanding this change that I talk about in the beginning to say, the only thing that is actually a constant now is the change, because we are living in a VUCA world. I've said, ladies and gentlemen, dames and heren, at a number of platforms that ons leef in 'n snel veranderende, uitdagende Suid-Afrika, waarin verandering die enigste konstant geword het. We are living in that mad world. And we know that this change that I'm talking about is not easy. You need some inertia. You need some push to change the behavior that I'm talking about, because otherwise talk will be cheap. Because any change followed what is called a sigmoidal curve. It is very hard in the beginning. It's messy in the middle. And that's where people abandon things. And it goes just at the end. You move from the world of disorder, you end up with an order. But during that particular process, for order to happen, for rearrangement to happen, you have to ensure that you change things around. And that is actually a change for you. And sometimes, as people, we are afraid of uncertainty and fear of the unknown. Sometimes we ask ourselves, why, as people, we are resistant to change. there's nothing special about, because our brain as people is hardwired to be resistant to change. So you have to overcome that particular inertia in the beginning. And what is key is that the fundamental laws that ensure excellence will be wired in if we do that. Lastly, I'm a human being, so nothing is strange to me about being a human. There is nothing foreign to me to being a human. And as we said in Latin, homo sum humani amene nihil alineam puto. As a way forward program director, let us ensure that the conference convenes some of the most successful and influential women leaders and founders from industry, academia, nonprofit organization, government, individuals who are in STEM. These leaders will share their insights, wisdom, hard-earned lessons, and actionable tools and strategies in a transparent, intimate, compelling, and authentic way. All of this must happen in an intimate, supportive, and fun atmosphere where real and meaningful relationships are built. This conference is multi-generational, multi-sector, multifaceted, and caters to women at all career ages, from high school to university and corporate world. Thanks to the Division of Student Affairs and Center for Diversity, Inclusivity, and Social Change, in collaboration with the Faculty of Informatics and Design, and in partnership with HSSA for this invite. I don't take that for granted. In closing, ladies and gentlemen, when a friend made a mistake, the friend remains a friend, and the mistake remains a mistake. That's what we should always keep in mind if we are to build this one smart CPUT that we are talking about. I want to repeat this statement. When a friend made a mistake, the friend remained a friend, and the mistake remained a mistake. Let me end this presentation with the quotations from 3 great women. Maybe I must reduce them to 2, because it's important that I have to share this quote with you. I've said earlier on, we are action-oriented creatures, and out of our habits comes our future. And I always talk about Anna Akhmatova. And Anna Akhmatova is always saying, because as an institution, we believe in creating futures. And I always say, maybe I must qualify that. As an institution, everywhere where we see CPUT slogan, creating futures. But maybe we should actually say creating better futures. Because as the future ripens the past wrote in the future. What we are talking about today, we are talking about the future, but today. Let me also share with you a quote from one lady, Oriana Fallaci. I've said so much about Oriana. But here I want to paraphrase what he said when she was on her deathbed. And I quote, she said, "I don't even know if I will be around next year. My cancers are so bad that I think I arrive at the end of the road. What a pity. I would have liked to live not only because I love life so much, but because I wanted to make a contribution." Close quote. This was a lady suffering stage 4 cancer, but she was contributing till the end. And I'm sure we can actually do something if we are to change the narrative, change the course around women in science, women in engineering, women in STEM, to say the issue of science and technology is not the exclusive domain of men. In fact, women are much better in those disciplines. We have to change that mindset. In the chemistry lab that I used to work hours and hours, I've worked with women who are very strong. In fact, I know people who majored in physics used to think that chemistry is more for women because you always work with water and all those things. But the truth be told, we must give opportunities and create environment where both sexes can compete equally. But you can't actually hold one sex back and expect a fair competition. This morning we heard from Antonio Guterres when he said, there are still 300 years to bring the two genders to the same level. And this is not a question of talk. It's a question of national government and state putting money to ensure that this happens. Ladies and gentlemen, I will be remiss of my duty if I'm not saying, welcome to CPUT. The conference is officially open. I will be remiss if I don't repeat the same to say, ladies and gentlemen, the conference is open. Ndiyabulela mawethu, makube mandi kube kuhle. I will also be remiss, dames and herren, if I don't include the third language, to say, Baie dankie, dames en here. Dit is vir ons, vir my en my span, 'n groot geleentheid om enkele gedagtes met u te wissel. Thank you very much.
I think the one thing, perhaps let me start off by saying, can you give a round of applause to the Vice Chancellor of the Cape Peninsula University of Technology, Professor Chris Ntlapo. Now you can put two and two together, even though my mathematics is not 100%, but I think having a Vice Chancellor who's a scientist with a whole lot of mathematics, who talks about pure maths, and we look at Vision 2030 of a One Smart CPUT. Please do the math. I'm not going to teach you everything. I think one thing that we can take out is that an idea is just an idea, but it is only great based on its implementation. So there is a clarion call to say, let us not only sit in these venues, come up with these ideas, do all the talking, but rather to say, let us practice what we preach. And we do want to thank the Vice Chancellor for that inspiring welcome address. Now, moving along with our program, we are now going to welcome Professor Drake Hay-Swimmer, who is the Executive Director in the Office of the Vice Chancellor, and really talks about celebrating CPUT's STEM program, an empowerment program for achieving Sustainable Development Goal number 5. Just briefly about who Prof. Hay-Swimmer is. She spent most of her years in university executive management. Over the last 3 decades, she was a dean, deputy vice chancellor, and a university president, as well as became known as a strategic and servant leader. She has published widely more than 100 articles as well as chapters in books on leadership and mentoring, quality assurance, as well as curriculum development and transformation. She has also supervised more than 25 doctoral students and over 30 master's degree students to completion. She has a passion to see young people grow and leaders and become the best they can. I can attest to that. She has served on various higher education task team, institutional audits, as well as professional bodies. She was also deputy president of the South African Association for Research and Development in Higher Education and an executive member of HELTASA. She is also currently a non-executive director on the board of the Golden Key International Owners Society. She loves her work, and her work is her passion. I could not agree more. Professor Swema, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Andiswa, for the kind introduction. And good afternoon, every one of you. Moweni nonke. Ndisaphila namhlanje. Akukho nto imbi. Ndingathetha isiXhosa kancinci. Okay, so today is actually a wonderful day. It's called the International Women's Day. Now, I believe, ladies and gentlemen, that todays like today are for us to critically reflect globally, but also here at home at CPUT, how far we have come so far in celebrating women and their achievements and the empowerment of women. So let us stand today for a moment in unity to celebrate the significant role women have played worldwide and they are still doing so, to create a fair and a just society. Now, this annual event where we come and celebrate women reminds us of women's achievements, challenges, and ongoing gender equality struggles. It's still there, colleagues. Whether we like to admit it or not, women are still fighting for their space in the sun. We have done a lot, but there's still more to be done. And on the other hand, a day like today also reminds us of women's remarkable progress in various fields. And there are so many fields where women have actually started to take the lead. Now, you will agree with me that over the years, women have indeed faced numerous challenges and barriers in their efforts to be acknowledged and be respected, especially in STEM. But I would like to say not only in STEM, but in many other disciplines, whether it's art or sports or in economic areas, the struggles still remain there for many, many decades. But despite their significant contributions and capabilities, women has often been marginalized and overlooked in male-dominated careers. Andiswa mentioned that I've spent now close to 30 years in senior university executive on that level. And I can tell you that the early days for me was not easy. I was often the only female, and I had to tolerate the typical male jokes, sayings, etc., etc. So for me, I can really stand here today as a testimony of someone who had to really stand my ground in a male-dominated leadership environment. We will also recall, and I was also one of those, that we have been historically discouraged from pursuing careers in STEM in particular due to societal biases and prejudices and stereotypes. In the early years, it was believed that women were intellectually inferior to men and were better suited for domestic roles. This limited our access to education and prevented us from pursuing mathematics, accounting, medicine, etc., etc. But as you know, even when women managed to enter the so-called careers earmarked for men, they faced still various forms of discrimination and bias. They were often excluded from essential research projects, denied opportunities for advancement and promotion, and were paid less than male counterparts. I remember when I started my career as a teacher, my male counterpart earned almost twice my salary, and I then had an honours degree. I still cannot figure that out. The lack of representation and role models further discouraged women from pursuing careers in STEM or in any other male-dominated environment, as they felt isolated and unsupported in male-dominated environments. I remember when I was appointed onto senior management level, and there was a break for tea or coffee, men looked at me as if, please, you must serve the tea. And I said to myself, I will never do that. Not because I think I'm too smart for that, but it's wrong. Why is it that it's just this perception that if you're the only female in a group, that you must then serve the tea or whatever? But let us today, when we celebrate the achievements of women on this specific day, let us quickly have a look at remarkable women, particularly in the area of STEM, because that was the topic that was given to me to also speak about the VC's and CPUT's STEM initiative, which I will come to rather soon. If we think of people like Ada Lovelace, often regarded as the world's first computer programmer, she paved the way for women in technology in the 19th century. And then we think of someone like Marie Curie, a pioneer in radioactivity, who became the first woman to win a Nobel Prize and inspired countless women to pursue careers in science. Her discoveries, in fact, and achievement revolutionized science and paved the way for future advancement in medicine and in radiography. But did you know that she actually obtained or was awarded 2 Nobel Prizes? And that's exceptional. When I did my bit of homework for today, I read that she was, in 1903, the first woman in history to be awarded a Nobel Prize, and the second Nobel Prize in 1911 for chemistry. What an achievement. But did you know that because, and in spite of her groundbreaking breakthroughs, she faced discrimination and skepticism from some male scientists who questioned her abilities and her research and dismissed her achievements. Now, beside her, I can think of many other women that are equally inspiring. Here I think of Rosalind Franklin, whose work on X-ray crystallography was crucial to the discovery of the structures of DNA. And Jane Goodall, a renowned primatologist who revolutionized our understanding of animal behavior. Katherine Johnson, she's definitely one of my biggest inspirations and role models over years, who was a NASA mathematician who helped calculate the flight path for NASA's first manned space mission in 1962, after a couple of failures. She made the essential calculations for Apollo moon landing. Christine Darton, an aeronautical engineer at the NASA Langley Research Center, she was one of the leading NASA researchers on the sonic boom and its relation to supersonic and hypersonic aircraft. What amazing achievements. And then there are, of course, many others, Dr. Patricia Gowings, and I think of Charlotte Maxeke, who was the first black woman in South Africa to obtain a BSc. But yet, and very sadly, colleagues and friends here today, organizations and initiatives to support women in STEM, and for that matter in many other professions, only emerged in the 20th century. The formation of the Society of Women Engineers, for instance, in 1950, and the Association for Women in Science in 1971, was from the first platforms actually created to advance women in specifically STEM-related careers. But ladies and gentlemen, let me remind all of us why we are here today, amongst other reasons. It is to celebrate and honor the incredible achievements of the Cape Peninsula University of Technology's STEM program. And maybe not all of you are aware of the success and the impact that this program have on scholars, teachers, and for that matter, hopefully also on the economy of the Western Cape. It is also called the Vice-Chancellor's prestigious School STEM project. Now, this empowering initiative has not only made a significant impact on the lives of women, but also play and will play a pivotal role in achieving Sustainable Development Goal number 5, which is gender equality. This program, the STEM program at CPUT, stands as a beacon of hope, breaking down barriers and stereotypes about women in STEM, and it has provided indeed a platform for women to showcase their talents and skills and intellect, providing that gender should never be a limitation to success. And I want to say to all the females here today, your gender should never be a barrier for your success and for your dreams to come true. Through this program, this STEM project, CPUT has indeed created an inclusive and diverse learning environment where women are encouraged to pursue their passion and dreams. It has empowered them to challenge societal norms and overcome the hurdles that have hindered their progress to the past. So, stemming from the work that we are doing in STEM, a provincial forum was also created to discuss the opportunities to strengthen STEM in the province. Furthermore, this initiative aims to identify exceptional talent, and believe me, there are indeed exceptional female talent on our campus. We see that every year when we award doctorate and master's degree. Those who are out shining there are indeed women. If we look, for instance, at the VC's prestigious scholarship program for postgraduate students, guess who are the most successful students? Women. But do you know that through this initiative, we have raised more than 11 million rand for 6 key projects, reaching out to schools in rural Eastern Cape at Kovimbabu, and right through to the heartland of the Karoo, up the West Coast, Cape Flats, and our surrounding schools. I believe that slowly but certainly, CPUT is demystifying the myth that women cannot perform in STEM-related fields. Yes, I do believe we have indeed come a long way. In conclusion, let us all join hands and strive for a world in which every woman is valued, respected, and empowered. A world in which women's intellect and ability to achieve are the same and even better than their male counterparts. We were all born equally, talented, competent, and capable of groundbreaking discoveries. We are all good enough. Believe that. Believe in yourself. Here's to women here today in science, in arts, in sport. So I want to celebrate all of you today. You are remarkable, and never give up on your dreams. It is possible. And hopefully, in the years to come, we will hear that you were a groundbreaking person in your career or a scientist, making the world a better place. I thank you.
So Prof, you're going to stand here. So what we're going to do, we're going to do some bit of content. Lucy, is your camera ready? Now what now? So you're going to stand right in the same space as I. Yeah, so you're going to do content. Thank you. Another one. Okay. I would never say no to content. We are here for it. The leg.
The leg. I like the leg.
Thank you. Aren't we creating better futures as always at CPUT? Thank you so very much. It is an honor and privilege all the time to be in the presence of Professor Hayswema, because one thing that I can guarantee you is that she lives the notion of breaking those PhDs, and that is pull her down syndrome or push her down. So it's not only those who are down who say, hey, where do you think you're going up? Come down. But sometimes you also get those who are on top, and as you're trying to climb up, yay, don't you know that I'm the only black female who's supposed to be in this space? I'm the only woman who's supposed to be in this space, and they will push you down. So she leaves that inspiration of saying, let us break those. So do get on your Facebook and your LinkedIn, Cape Peninsula University of Technology. On your Instagram and Twitter, it is We Are CPUT. Do hashtag inspire inclusion. We are capable, we are enough. Sithi siyazazi, siyazithanda, siyazithemba, siyazinca. And as we move right along, in Africa, we're very cautious about time, guys. Ne? Very cautious about time. So let us now, in consideration of a time, call upon the president of the Central SRC at CPUT, and that is Ms. Sinelizwi Nochikila.
Thank you so much, Ms. Mkhazi, for a very brief introduction. I understand it can't be easy introducing me after professors and doctors, but it's okay, I'll forgive you. As introduced, my name is Sinelizwi Nochikila, the very first student of the Cape Peninsula University of Technology. I must say, it is truly an honor to stand before you for this 5 minutes that have been borrowed. Straight about time, I see. I just want to say a few words to everyone that is gathered here, that today, as we gather to celebrate International Women's Day, I believe it is a day that we are compelled to reflect not only on the contributions and the progress that we've made, but on the challenges that still confront us. Particularly as young Black women navigating the digital landscape in South Africa. I am particularly humbled to address you under the theme, Digital Innovation and Technology for Gender Equality. And as we navigate the exciting possibilities and challenges of the digital age, let us not forget that for centuries women have fought against discrimination, inequality, and while significant strides have been made, we cannot be ignorant, can't see. Let it not be forgotten that for centuries, women have fought against discrimination and equality. And while significant strides have been made, we cannot be ignorant of the unique struggle faced particularly by young Black women in our society. We stand at the intersection of race, gender, and generational divides, which present both obstacles and opportunities. As I stand on privilege of the first ever female president of the Central SRC, I've pondered on the significance of my role as to what is it that I can contribute to the success and betterment of women within our institution. And today's gathering came just at the right time for me because it serves as a reminder of the collective responsibility we share in fostering an environment where every individual, regardless of gender, can thrive and make a meaningful contribution. It is also my belief that the purpose of this International Women's Day celebration is multifaceted with a focus on empowering young women in higher education and it is my wish to highlight some key aspects that this event seeks to address. Firstly, I saw it as an emphasis to the importance of STEM and STEM fields in empowering young women, whereby these disciplines, they are not only gateways to innovation and progress, but to me, they appear to be avenues for breaking traditional gender norms and expanding opportunities for women in academic and professional spheres. Secondly, this event acknowledges the power of mentoring in addressing inequity and gender biasness. To be quite honest, mentorship provides a crucial support system by offering guidance, encouragement, and insight that can propel women forward in their educational and professional journeys. Thirdly, it is my belief that today is showcasing appreciation, creativity, and expressing skills. It is indisputable that women bring unique perspectives and talents to the table. That is why it is very important to recognize and celebrate the diverse contribution they make to our academic community. Moreover, we are obliged to discuss ways of bridging the gender-digital divide to achieve Sustainable Development Goal 5 in higher education. How do we best achieve this? By ensuring equal access to digital resources, education, and opportunities. By doing so, we are laying the foundation for a more inclusive and equitable society. Lastly, I would like to urge each and every one of you in this room to take this moment to celebrate the achievement opportunities that women have seized, despite the challenges they may have faced, by highlighting their success stories and accomplishment. Let us inspire one another to reinforce the idea that no dream is too ambitious for any individual, regardless of gender. As a way forward, I would like to urge each and every one of us to unite to become forces in our various corners that we live in. Let it be our commitment to create a lasting impact on gender equality in the digital age. It is my utmost belief that together we can build a future where every woman has the opportunity to excel, innovate, and contribute to the advancement of our institution and society at large. To my beautiful woman, your word for today is, the future is ours to conquer. Thank you and happy International Women's Day.
Today is absolutely no ways I'll miss that.
You want the list?
And so this is how you deal with presidents. You don't give their bio so that they can mushroom you during the people. And as we save the best for last, that was the president of SRC, Central SRC, Umisinelizwi. And just briefly, there are certain times where you've got to allow the person to introduce themselves. It is a very momentous occasion for us, a momentous time as a university, where we've got the first female president in the Central SRC. So we've had to do it differently when she comes up. So who is Sinelizwi? She was born and raised in a small village of Osborne in Mount Frey in the Eastern Cape. She's a recent graduate for honors in supply chain management and currently pursuing a master's degree in operations management. She dedicates herself to pursuit of knowledge and expertise in the field. Her academic journey reflects a commitment to intellectual growth and a desire to contribute meaningfully to the realm of operations management. A trailblazer in her own right, and recently made history by becoming the first female president of the Central SRC at the Cape Peninsula University of Technology. She has vowed to employ a leadership style that is characterized by a combination of vision, empathy, and a resolute focus on fostering positive change within the academic community, and also ensuring that students' voices are heard and their concerns are addressed. Thank you so very much, President. And I think that was a bit of a mouthful, and as we digest, where's the choir? Are we gonna dance nyana? Just in J. Can we have the choir just for a song item, shake, shake, nyana? There are some songs that they've sang which would get us on our feet. And as I'm talking, I'm a choir. Hey, man. We're celebrating. We're tinting the Bakodos. We're tinting the Bafazis internationally. So, can we have the choir to make us move a little bit as we prepare Louise Banahen all the way from the University of Leeds, who will be joining us online, and as we get the tech team to be ready for us. Where's the bio?
Yeah, call it. Just tell it to keep quiet. Yeah, tell it to put the mic on mute.
How are you, gentlemen? The IT specialists are getting younger now. My presentation is here.
You just copy it to the desktop. Yeah.
Yay. You'll be okay. I think it's too fast.
Too fast.
You see, it's 14.
So we'll come back.
Another round of applause for the CPUT choir. They are certainly amazing. We're now going to cross the lines online all the way to Leeds University. And we are going to have a message, or rather, a sharing of a case of Leeds University using gendered lenses. And that really looks at student inclusivity. On the line, we've got Louise Benahin. I do hope that I've pronounced your surname correctly. And just briefly who Louise is. She is the Director of Educational Engagement and Student Success at the University of Leeds. She provides leadership of service and areas of work focused on enriching the learning experiences with a strong focus on equity and inclusion. She includes leadership of the university's Access and Student Success Strategy. In 2017, she was awarded an MBE in the Queen's Birthday Honours for service to higher education and holds Principal Fellowship with the HEA. Her external roles include trustee of the Tutor Trust, as well as board member for the UKRI OFS advisory group focused on widening access to PGR study. Louise's Twitter handle, so as you get on your social media, it is at Asantewa_A. So that is SAASANTEWAH_A, if you do want to follow more of her content and what she does.
Louisa, please go ahead.
Hi, it's really great to be here and to join you. I will just start sharing my screen. Whilst I'm doing that, let me just change my... Yeah, can you hear me? There's a bit of an echo.
Yes, we can hear you. I just need to mute my mic when you speak.
Okay.
And we can see you. We can't see your presentation yet.
Oh, okay, 1 minute.
We can see your
Okay.
screen now. It's coming up, yes.
Okay, great, thank you. So is that on full screen for you? Is that okay?
Yes, it's perfect. Please go ahead.
Okay, right, great, thank you. So first of all, I wanted to say a big thank you to Brightness. Oh, sorry, there's a really bad echo. There's a delayed echo. Can you mute? Okay, I'll just try and ignore it. Hang on. No. Yeah, then it will work. Okay, right, I've done that. Okay, so I'll start again, sorry. So first of all, I just wanted to say a big thank you to Brightness Mangalathi for the invitation, to Melanie Ann Harrat, and also the Division of Student Affairs. And thank you also for the inspiring speeches from colleagues who have spoken before me, including the Vice-Chancellor and the President. So as is outlined, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the University of Leeds and really think about that through that context of a gendered lens as well. So first of all, I wanted to start by outlining the context. So in the UK, the University of Leeds, and then also my own role and my own lived experience. And in the UK, like many other countries, including South Africa, we really see some quite a lot of variation in students and people's experience of education, family history, attainment, ethnicity and class all have a very different dimension in terms of the way in which people are able to access education and access opportunities more generally. There's also a significant regional variation. So the University of Leeds, for those of you who are not familiar with it, is beautiful, as you can see in the screen. It's also in the north of England. And in the UK, there is a significant north and south divide. So in the south, there is you are far more likely to have higher attainment in school and in college, and you are more likely to go to university than in the north of England. If we move on to the University of Leeds, it's a large research-intensive university, so we have around 50,000 students. We also have a strong STEM offering and also a strong arts and humanities offering, and that's quite unusual for a university like the University of Leeds. Our arts department is similar to the size of some universities, so just the arts offering that we provide is bigger than many universities alone. In terms of my own role and my own lived experience, that's really important to me. I am mixed heritage, so I'm proud to be both half British, but also my father is from Ghana in West Africa. And I'm also from a working class background. And so for me, that is really important in the role that I do. It's incredibly important to me to be able to support and address barriers to equity and to improve the experience for all people, but particularly thinking about that through the lenses of gender and ethnicity, social disadvantage. And within that also as well, from my own experience, actually my background is that whilst I studied English literature at university, I actually studied the sciences and the arts when I was, before I went to university. So both of them are very strong for me. As part of that, I love poetry. So I have included some poems in here. And for me, this poem really encapsulates what International Women's Day is all about. So I'll come back to this later on. But I think it's so important to recognise how resilient and striking women are around us. So where are we now at the University of Leeds? Well, in many ways, there are lots of positives to talk about. Students who are female are far likely to do better at school before they get to university or go on to work. They're less likely to be excluded. They're more likely to be attending regularly whilst they're there as well. Participation in higher education is stronger and higher amongst female students. So there's around 50% participation in higher education amongst female students in the UK compared to 38% of male students. Once we get to university, certainly at the University of Leeds, you are more likely to come out with our top class degrees if you are female compared to male students. So all around, there are lots of positives for female students. And we've heard mention already about inspiring women, and I wanted to showcase a couple of them here. And so for me, Penny is a great example of that. She is a graduate of Leeds, a recent graduate who studied medicine. She's also from a minoritized ethnic background, and she carried out research for the university, which informed national policy for us. She's also done a great lot of work nationally campaigning for fair pay. She is a great example of a resilient and a striking young woman. And that's why gender equity is so important. But there is a but there. And that is that whilst there are some great news stories, we also see a great deal of differential participation in subjects in higher education. So at Leeds, there is a pattern which is very similar to the rest of the UK in that male students are far more likely to go into STEM subjects than female students. So in STEM subjects at the University of Leeds, only about 30% of the population are female. We also find that our school system in the UK is really set up often to set the arts and science subjects as binaries. So students are encouraged quite early on to consider themselves as in the arts or the sciences, and that really reinforces that. We also see a great deal of intersectionality as well. So whilst there's some great positives in terms of outcomes, we see differences depending on class and gender and ethnicity there. There's a gender digital divide in terms of access to devices, digital literacy, and the more that we look at AI, artificial intelligence, it brings us to think about, is that inclusive, is that ethical, is that accessible to all genders there? Staff diversity is another really important part of this. So for us at the University of Leeds, we have a nearly 20% pay gap in gender, with male staff being paid more. Across the UK, out of 23,000 professors, there are only 66 black female professors. So there's a great deal to do in that space, particularly when we consider how important it is in bringing together that expertise, that perspective, the diversity of lived experience and role modelling. And there's also assumptions about gender diversity and gender identity that we need to tackle and address. And that really brings me to the heart of it, which is whose voice is heard, who feels that they are valued and that they matter. If we're to address equity, we need to ensure that all voices are amplified, all feel that they have a voice at the table, that we're able to bring that diversity of expertise, whether that's digitally, in the STEM subjects, thinking about it from an interdisciplinary point of view. And for me, this poem really encapsulates that. It's really about what's come before us in terms of assumptions about gender, but also what continues, and particularly about the systemic barriers that may exist and may persist unless we collectively address them. And so that brings me to what's going on for us, both in the UK, but also particularly at the University of Leeds. And so this is really just a snapshot of some of the areas that we have been thinking about and looking at how we can tackle gender equity. So the first one has been to embed commitments to gender equality. That includes in our own institutional KPIs and making commitments to staff diversity as well as student diversity, and holding the whole institution to account for that, so that through all of our exercises and all of the changes that we make, we are thinking about and taking proactive efforts to be able to address gender equity. Also addressing that pipeline, so thinking about who participates in undergraduate education, but then who goes on to PhD study. How can we design our curriculum so that we can make the most of the STEM and the arts and that STEAM perspective? How do we ensure that we address that gender digital divide? How do we continue to address those barriers? From a gender inclusivity perspective, we know that many of the aspects of the student's experience can unintentionally exclude female students. So how can we address that? One of the really interesting areas of work that we undertook recently was thinking about harassment and allyship. And we ran short courses for every single student. It was compulsory that they needed to complete short courses on microaggressions and allyship. The consequence of that was that reporting of harassment and discrimination actually went up because people were much more aware of it, which is a positive, but it also showed how important it is that we need to tackle it. We've also really focused on how can we uplift and ensure that our female students have the opportunity to be powerful role models, and that includes peer mentoring. And a colleague earlier on today mentioned that. And some of that thinking that we've done has been really informed by some research that has taken place at the University of Massachusetts, where they looked at the experience of female engineering students. They assigned those students peer mentors who were both male and female. And they found that the peer mentors who were female had a much more positive impact on those students, those female students. They were more likely to have enhanced well-being, to continue with their course, and to go on to postgraduate study. The impact of those female students as peer mentors was absolutely clear in that space. We also need to think about it in the context of research, including the biases that come, the methodologies that we use, and the way in which that informs the research and the policy that may come out of that. They're all important. And lastly, recognising cultural engagement. So for us at the university, it's been a really powerful vehicle to talk about STEAM, to talk about curiosity, and the way in which we need to bring that together and bring that digital expertise to tackle global challenges collectively. I wanted to also highlight another student. There are so many students that I could talk about, but I wanted to mention another student as well, who is a great role model and an inspiration. Natasha was a mature student who returned to the university to study financial mathematics. Natasha has undertaken scholarships, she has undertaken research, and she's currently an intern in our Deputy Vice-Chancellor's office, working on a data strategy. The work that she's done has made a huge impact to the university, bringing both her skills but also her lived experience to make a real change and to be an inspiration, not just to students but to staff at the university. So finally, I wanted to go back to the start really, and really to say Happy International Women's Day, and to remind us all how resilient and striking women are. And also for us all to take a moment to think about those inspirational women that are in our lives, that have either uplifted us through our careers or are there around us, or indeed we are the inspirational women. And to also lastly reinforce how important it is that we address the systemic barriers that are there. It's not about changing people, it's about changing the systems that exist that mean that those barriers are there and that we can advance equity from a gender perspective. Thank you so much. and happy International Women's Day.
Thank you so much, Louise, for that. And it does remind me of the Faculty of Business and Management Sciences Women's Day of 2023, where we had a guest who actually spoke to us about not only equality, where we're saying everyone must get a pair of shoes, but rather let's address equity, where we say it must be comfortable shoes. We are not, as women, asking to be men, to be stronger than men in terms of masculinity. We're not asking to climb on top of roofs, but we are saying we want opportunities that are also considering our realities as women. I saw that picture, and the Dean of Student Affairs just reminded me, because the last time we were at this venue, I had my son with me because I had babysitter issues. So those are our realities. So if you invite me, you must know that at times life happens. Moving right along, we can move right. Ladies, I did not say this and I feel bad. You look absolutely, absolutely gorgeous. So next up, just those house rules, colleagues, we are pressed for time, and I'd really like to ask the upcoming speakers to reduce the time up here. The next speaker was scheduled for 20 minutes, and we've just been asked if she could please reduce to 10 minutes, and that is Dr. Kolosa Madikizela, who holds a PhD in Construction Economics and Management. Her research focused on exploring the relationship between diversity, leadership, and innovation within the South African construction industry. Recently, she served as the managing director at Pragma Africa, overseeing all client and operational activities at Pragma Global within the African region. Dr. Madikizela is deeply passionate about promoting women's career advancement in male-dominated sectors and providing support for the growth and development of young professionals within these fields. Dr. Madikizela's 20-year career spans across the construction, property development, and engineering sectors, where she has occupied senior management, executive management, and CEO-level positions at various multinational organizations, including Pragma Global, Oricon Group, Shell SA, the Life Healthcare Group, and the Avenge Group. She was also the Chief Executive Officer of Nexus Facilities Management Company, a business she was notably specifically recruited to start with a focus in the telecommunications sector, where Neotel was its major client. She was responsible for growing this business from a zero base to a multi-million rand income generating SMME. Dr. Madikizela, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a bit sad that I get 10 minutes. I cannot have 10 minutes. I'm sorry. When you're talking about creating futures at CPUT, I'm Exhibit A. I walked these walls. I come from this place. The reason why when CPUT calls me and asks me, the answer is always yes, if I can. There's so much that this institution has given me. I was telling Ubabo, the driver who picked me up from the airport, that I just get goosebumps whenever I come to this campus. Because Louise spoke about various reasons why we actually end up at university, right? Many of us come here because we are the first generations in our family, and we have to come here because if we don't have an education, no one in our family is ever going to rise up. Many of us come because it's a way to be independent in what we're doing. We come from privileged backgrounds, and therefore it's an opportunity for ourselves to shackle ourselves away from our parents. Many of us come because our parents were educators and they wanted us to have an education. I was brought up in an environment where, based on the accidental of where my birth was, I should never have been in this institution. I should have started off at a UCT, a Rhodes, even overseas. But God, for whatever reason, wanted me to come to CPUT. And I believe I wouldn't have been the leader I am today if I didn't walk these floors, if I didn't stay in the res that I stayed. I mean, I graduated cum laude. I remember when I graduated, I think it was in one of the other rooms here. I had to give a speech because I also got the overall engineering award in that year. I was the top student in the construction management class. And this comes from a student whose mother cried when I told her I'm coming here. Because no one in my family had actually gone to a technicon. Back then, it was still Peninsula Technicon, 24 years ago. And everyone had gone to university. And on top of that, what? I'm going to study construction? No ways. But God knew what he was doing. I learned so much. When I got into this institution, I got exposed to people that I would have never been exposed to in my life. Coming from different walks of lives. I mean, the library exposed me to so much of a history that I was not exposed to. The colored people's history. Because many of you might know this, and I hope you do, especially if you're in this institution. The Peninsula Technicon and UWC were designated for black people and colored people, and predominantly colored and Indian back then. And all the other institutions for white people. So God knew that I would end up in my leadership roles within the industry that I'm at, often the only black person, and always the only woman. I don't like the first, because I feel like whenever we say first, we kind of put a block to it. I like to say we're pioneers, because I believe if I'm a pioneer, then I'm going to bring other people. I love what you spoke about, the PhDs, because very often when we label ourselves the first, then we're stuck with wanting to be the only one. But if you're a pioneer woman, men have always been called pioneers. Why can't we be called pioneers? Because a pioneer is somebody that changes something. When you are the first, it means you were the first to walk through the door. And very often you end up closing the door so that other women don't come. But when you're a pioneer, you hold the responsibility of change. So in all my leadership roles, I've been a pioneer. And I believe that if women can embody pioneership, we can change this world. Because then we understand that if you're a pioneer, success is in the numbers. It's so yesterday to say I'm the first and I'm the only one. Get over it. You're not going to make a difference. You're not going to make a change. It's a pity I've got a little bit of time, because when I was reflecting, so many of my changes and my moments, historical moments and important moments as a woman, as a person and as a woman, happened in this institution. I got a scholarship in my second year. And the difference with a scholarship and a bursary, it's got nothing to do with your family breakdown, your financial know-how, because if it did, I wouldn't have been given the scholarship. It's based on merit. And throughout it, you have to then maintain a certain aspect. So I got a scholarship through the Construction Education and Training Authority. They paid for, even when I went to UCT, they continued to then pay. And that made a difference in my life, and therefore I made sure that other women got the same scholarship that I got. I made sure that they were aware of it, they applied, and they did it. I got my very first job because of Professor Crow. I don't think, he wouldn't be here, but Professor Crow was a lecturer in the construction department here at CPUT. I got my first job because of him. That's why this institution holds so much, it's precious to me. I thought Tony Stringer was going to be here. I was told she was going to be here. She was one of the lecturers who lectured me here. She made a difference in my life. Her and Zainu Khan, they believed in me. And we needed lecturers like that, especially when you are the only female. When I chose to major in construction management, out of 5 females in our BTech year, I was the only one who chose construction. All 4 chose quantity surveying. Because nobody wanted to be on site. Nobody wanted to actually face what it means to work on a construction site because of the stigma of the site. So this is a very special institution to me, and I want all of you sitting here today to see that you can achieve as well. Because very often, going back to my mother's tears, when you think about institutions like this, which were historically designated for black people, we often think that you're not going to go far. You have to be at a UCT to go far. I totally disagree. It's truly about yourself, your attitude, because an education is an education is an education. Science is science is science. Mathematics is mathematics is mathematics. It doesn't matter where you study it. At the end of the day, it's about what do you want? And what difference do you want to make into the world? We all come in here with various reasons why we want to get an education. The common thread between all of us is all of us should make a difference in society. So one of the things I do, I run mentorship programs. I've got a woman mentorship program called Conversations with Kolosa. We meet every second month and we have dinner and I invite different people to come and participate. And the reason I do that is because I was very fortunate in my career, as I said, to have many people that opened doors for me. Mr. Crow, Professor Crow, who opened the very first door for me for my very first job at TFMC. I've had beautiful mentors, Bonang Mohale, Nikki Newton-King, who became the very first CEO of the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. She was my mentor. I wouldn't be the leader I became if it were not for those people. One of the things that Nikki Newton-King taught me was that I have to always remain in a constant state of learning. It doesn't matter if you are the #1 job and you are the CEO in that job. You don't know how to do the accounting clerk's job. You don't. They do. So if you walk in there and you think, I'm the #1 job, I know it all, you're going to fail very fast. So it's important to remain in a constant state of learning. And I'm looking forward to a time where when I get interviewed by someone, I'm not asked, what does it feel like to be a female in the engineering space? Because those days should come to an end. I'm looking forward to a day where when we announce that someone is the SRC president or is the CEO of a bank, we stop saying she's female. We just say, we've just appointed Susan. That's it. Because then this world would have moved forward. Because there is importance in days like this. There are. We still need them. We definitely do, because for a very long time, women were at the back of the bus. And very often, we weren't even on the bus. So these days are about making us get there. But I think if all of us as women take on this baton of being pioneers and bring other women along, the fight can actually be won. We can have a voice instead of being just the noise. We can have a voice instead of just being the noise. Nobody wants to be the noise. You know, I'm sure all of you have watched the movie Woman King with Viola Davis. Yeah, so Ste Keniko, in partnership with an organization called Womandla, they chose 20 African women that they believed were true women kings who did amazing things, and I was one of them. And one of the questions they asked in the interviews that they did in preparation, because they flighted our interviews before they played the movie, was, what are the unsung stories of women in your life? And I shared the story of my grandmother. My grandmother didn't have a degree, but all her children were educated. There were doctors, there were lawyers, there were CAs, but she didn't have a degree. She didn't even go to high school. But she was the most wise woman I've ever met. And I think as much as education is truly an equalizer, it should not be a status thing, because we learn anywhere. And I think as women, we need to tell the stories of the indigenous women, shoulders that we stand upon. So there's 3 things my grandmother taught me, which helped me succeed in this space, which helped me graduate with a cum laude, be on the Dean's Merit List, all of those accolades that I got. And she said the first one is, you got to remember who you are and where you come from. And it's got nothing to do with the fact that you are female or black or whatever. It's got everything to do with your forefathers and what they stood for. And that you should be proud of yourself and proud of who you are. Number 2, you should respect others the same way as you respect yourself. Might not agree with people's views, but please respect them. And the third one, you must always love yourself and know who you are. I mean, when we talk about women, I want to show you guys my sneakers. Whenever I get invited to speak, I wear my sneakers. I don't put myself under the pressure of wearing heels if I don't want to. Because a man would walk in here with the gumboots if they wanted to. But for some reason, us females, we have to why? Just be yourself. It's the same with shaving your hair as a woman. There's like, why are you shaving your hair? There's a saying that says when a woman cuts her hair, she's about to make a change in their life. Why? Men cut their hair all the time. Nobody makes a meal about it. So I think it's time that as women we embrace who we are and not lead with our gender first, but lead with who we are. The fact that we're women is just a bonus. And yes, we do lead differently. We need men as well. We need everybody. Everybody is part of this salad that we call life. And we need each and every one of us. So yes, I'm happy to be here. I just wanted to encourage you all to know that I've done amazingly well, but I also walked the same streets. I went to the Dome of Remembrance as well. I swam in the pool. I stayed at De Beers. I lived in this place. And if I can do it, you can do it too. I want to leave you in the spirit of women's, since it is International Women's Day, there's an anthem by Lang Leave that she calls the Women's Anthem. And I'm going to read it, and I'm end off with that. Women are fierce, they are beautiful, no matter what language they speak, how they dress, or the work they choose to do. Utatu Mandela used to speak about the station. It doesn't matter what station you are at, make a difference. So it doesn't matter what work we choose as women. Yes, we'd love to encourage more women to do all of the traditionally male-dominated sector industry jobs, but lawyers are needed as well, doctors are needed. My mom was an amazing social worker. So we need women across. It doesn't matter what work we choose. We must just shine. What matters is they have a choice. We have a choice. And the freedom to carve out a life for ourselves. As long as we know women who are strong and resilient, we must respect them, carry them forward, lift them up, for they are the product of all our other selves, the women we were, the ones we strive to be, the collective struggles of our mothers, our sisters, our daughters. Our salvation will only come if we stand together. Happy Women's Day.
Okay, before they kill me. For time. Well, that was beautiful, that was inspiring, and indeed, happy International Women's Month. A round of applause for Dr. Kolo Samatikizela. Yo. I'm going to follow you. Do you fan, do you groupie, and everything, nje. I want to apologize in advance because of time to the amazing women that I'm about to speak. And it's difficult to be a program director because when the powers that may be change the program, you're the one who must be the bearer of bad news. So the session that we're going to have now is looking at gender digital divide and the power of mentoring. Unfortunately, I will not read out the biographies of these two powerhouses who are my role models. And I will, though, call them on stage, and they are active on LinkedIn. So please do follow them on LinkedIn. We're going to start with the Dean of the Faculty of Informatics and Design. That is Professor Tembisa Ngondi, the same name on LinkedIn. And she will talk about bridging the gender digital divide through mentoring. And she'll be followed by Miss Brightness Mangoloti. But let's give it up for Prof. Ngondi. Understand?
Thank you very much, Program Director, and thank you, colleagues, for giving me the opportunity. I'm really humbled, and I really don't have much to say now because all has been captured. I'm actually happy because I'm given a topic that talks about mentorship. And when we talk about gender-based, gender divide, and we talk about mentorship, we always think about technology, of which is really not the case. I will tell you today, for me, in terms of the power and actually the best tool for the digital divide for gender, especially women, it's about sisterhood. I will read not from what is written by somebody else, but by myself. Sisterhood. How can the university define love? It can define it through dictionary. It can define it using scholarly definition. Sisterhood is a dictionary of love. Unpacking love characteristics through her natural beauty, she says, sisterhood is a feeling, it is a place. Sisterhood is a home. It is a place of comfort. It is a hiding place. Sisterhood is a sharing space. We pour our heart when things are not well. We run to her when we are overwhelmed. When we are excited, we think about sisterhood. Sisterhood is where we are molded. Leadership comes from sisterhood. Love comes from leadership where sisterhood is embraced. Let's not break the cycle of sisterhood. Let's transfer the spirit of sisterhood to the generations to come. Forward ever with sisterhood. Let's strengthen the ties of sisterhood. Let the network of sisterhood live forever. Sisterhood, you are everything for sisters. Sisterhood is love untoken, unspoken. Sisterhood, you are a pillar of hope. You are the secret place to hold sisters' tears. You lighten the world with the sisters' joy. Sisterhood, oh sisterhood. You build when you are embraced with honesty. You are an iron that sharpens iron. Sisterhood, oh our place of reflection. You are a peacemaker. I salute you, sisterhood. Sisterhood, you are the best ever that I have. I have written this poem in one session that Brightness was sharing. I did not read it. It came to my heart, but I decided to just read it today. And the reason I decided to read it is because when we talk about mentorship, we think about having sessions, having workshops. We think about having so many things. But when we talk about the digital divide, when it comes to gender, we must start with the social aspects, things that touch lives and heart. And if we think we're going to talk about the digital divide, when we talk about technology, and we think we'll be able to change the world, We are going to talk about all the concept. I can name the technological concept because I'm from IT. But those technology concepts will never assist you to reach your goal in terms of mentorship and bridging the digital divide. It starts with honesty and understanding yourself. It starts with respecting yourself and respecting others. The digital divide, I always talk about it, Professor Swema, as the dignity of digital divide. Digital divide, gender digital divide is one aspect of digital divide, but it has captured quite a number of aspects and components on it. And one of it is the quality of use. When you've got digital tools, what quality of use do you present and bring when it comes to bridge the gender divide? Do you expose yourself to the world? Do you tell the world who you are? Do you try to humiliate the next person? Or are we using it for the benefit of others? Or to empower and embrace what it's supposed to deliver to improve systems and improve human lives? For me, digital divide when it comes to mentorship has started at an early stage. I didn't know it was mentorship. When at high school, I was teaching grade 6 when I was doing standard 7 mathematics. We spoke about digital divide as in technology and tools, but those are the things, small things that bring the digital divide when it comes to our lives, our day-to-day lives. When we talk about digital divide through mentorship, I was just sitting here and I thought of Dr. Marsh, my former boss, when I was a senior lecturer, actually a tutor, who told me that digital divide is not what we think. Digital divide is to empower the next person next to you in terms of quality of use. When we've got the device that we do not know its power, then it brings the digital divide without even having a gender attached to it. We need to look into how we can embrace the use of technology in terms of bridging the digital device. The other thing that is actually captured, I'm not going to say everything because I've taken my minutes through my poem. Yes, the other thing that it talks about is access to divide. When we talk about digital divide and mentorship, what access do we have? We just heard the speaker now. She said she could have gone to UCT. She had financial support at home. How do we embrace access of whatever that we have that enable us to be better person in life? Digital divide is not a tool. Digital divide, it's about you and understanding yourself and learn and unlearn. Be able to forgive yourself when you did not do well. And do not allow the external factor to influence your line of thinking. In terms of the digital divide, when it comes to gender-based, I tell you it is a social and a universal aspect. It affects women in quite a number of aspects. But when, as women, we embrace the tools of massification of skills, what do we mean by massification of skills? I mean, if I know how to use certain features of a technology, I am able to assist my grandmother so that she can communicate well to bridge the digital divide. And that mentoring does not need Metcholwana to call a mentorship sessions. It means we can do one-on-one. We need to identify the needs in our surroundings. And we need to take what we have and impact the next person. I was just excited by just one woman who ran the gender divide in her space, Fatima May. She did not say a lot of things. She used her screen capturing to make sure her voice is known, to make sure that other women understand what is happening in her surroundings. You know, we've got the leaders that had led us. We've got Oprah Winfrey, who is a mentor to quite a number of women. Did she sit in one space and think of digital divide in terms of gender, in terms of looking for herself and her surrounding? No. She had to realize what are the needs of the communities that she can actually try and use her expertise and her resources to make sure that she improves those people around her. What I can say before I leave, because I have said, I've read my poem that took a lot of time. The digital divide in terms of mentorship, it looks at the educational outreach. We need to outreach. When we talk about outreach, we're not talking about having forums, having flyers. Outreach one-on-one, where you are, make sure that you say something to empower a person that you meet. It talks about fostering gender equality. Gender equality is not about us talking about female and male. It talks about us making sure when we empower someone, that person is going to change the lives of people that he meets or the people around her or him. Create community of practice. We need to have community of practice where we open spaces to discuss about gender digital divide. Because when we don't talk about gender digital divide, what will happen, we will play a blame game and we will never work together as collective. Raise awareness through social media and webinars. Make sure that you embrace digital dignity. Digital dignity, you do not send what is not supposed to be in a social media. That will create a space for digital divide where women are going to be embarrassed and women are going to be attacked. You make sure that you protect the space of women wherever you are, especially when you're using your social media. But in a nutshell, let us embrace the quality of use when it comes to digital divide, so that whatever we do when we're using our technology tools, we're using our communication, we embrace quality of use. Thank you.
Thank you so much to the Dean of the Faculty of Informatics and Design, talking all things digital. And moving right along, we'll now welcome Ms. Brightness Mangoloti, who is the Director of HES SA, and really talking about coaching and mentoring as an integral part of young women student development.
Thank you very much to the program director. Where to from here? Okay. Molweni. Sanbonani. My name is Brightness. I always say wherever I am, there is always brightness. With that said, allow me to use my 10 minutes fruitfully. Yeah, there's a lot that can be said. But I think I just want to say and recognize the VC in absentia, the leadership of the university, the dean. Thank you very much. And also for everyone who has taken time to be here. Please give yourself a round of applause. And why am I saying give yourself a round of applause? I want to say in this journey that we find ourselves in, if we want to succeed as women, we need to be intentional. We need to decide where we have to be in order to grow, in order to thrive. And I think this space is created for us as women to thrive. With that said, I just want to reflect on this quote. There is inside you all the potential to be whatever you want to be. All of the energy to do whatever you want to do. With that, I want to say you are able, you are competent, you have the skills. And the most important part of this journey of unlocking that is within you, it's part of my topic today, where I will talk about mentorship and also coaching. Mentoring and coaching are stated as valuable developmental strategy and affirmative actions tools that can be used to support and promote women and groups that have been viewed as previously disadvantaged. In the South African context, previously disadvantaged group, we know we have social hierarchies, the white on top, we have Indians, we have coloreds, and we have blacks at the bottom of the hierarchy. There are several benefits that have been identified of having a mentor and a coach, which are, importantly, to feel that you are seen. There is nothing as sad as being invisible. Others, they talk about erasure. And then also, to feel that you are valued. I think my colleague, Louise, from the University of Leeds, echoed the fact, whose voice matters. So if you are not valued, then it means you are silenced. You are invisible. No one is interested on what you are bringing at the table. And sometimes you find that you are at the table, but you don't have a seat at the table. With that also, I want to say, the journey of mentorship also provides you with an opportunity to be supported. Some of us are not thriving, not that we are not able, but because of the environment that we find ourselves in. And also, I want to echo that part of one to have a voice, part of one to be able to say, I matter, it also links back to, am I respected? But what I've come to appreciate in this journey, my bio was not read, I will forgive, and I want to say also to the program director, and I speak as a woman. These are some of the things that we do when women are at the podium. We don't give them the recognition that they deserve. I need to state that I acknowledge that there are time factors that are involved. Because also for a student sitting here, to listen to someone's bios, it's a reminder that it is possible. If she can, I can also be able to do what she has been able to do. But importantly, the part of the journey of being a mentor or having a coach, it also gives you a community, a sense of community, a sense of belonging, a sense that I am part of something. And then in higher education context, mentorship and coaching has been used as part of what we call student development. And then let's go through the journey of what is this student development. It is described as an academic, one, personal, and professional growth. So when we are in the context of higher education, it's not just about the IQ, but it's also about the other quotients, the emotional intelligence, social intelligence, spiritual intelligence, visionary intelligence, digital intelligence. You talk about all these types of intelligence that are going to enable you to thrive as a young woman. And it's also part of what we call not just the curriculum. Some of us, we say, I'm here to study. I just want to get my degree, if not my diploma or my certificate and so forth. Guess what? In the marketing language, we're talking about a value add. We talk about the positional strategy and positional strategy, those who are going to employ you are not going to just care about your marks, but they want to know what have you done outside of the classroom, which is what we call beyond the classroom. And that's where mentorship also and the coaching plays an imperative role. Some of us will say, you know what, I don't want to get a mentor, it's a waste of my time. I will indulge you into why all of us, we need a mentor. But we also need to appreciate that as we talk about social development, there are also social realities. And the social aspect of identity are at the center as we engage with mentorship and also with coaching. These are crucial to the student growth and self-definition. Dr. Matikizela said, as Socrates always say, know thyself, zazi. Umakulu, grandma said, zazi. If you don't know who you are easily going to be swayed by other people, because you're going to listen those who say you can't, and you say you can't because you're repeatedly narrating these messages back to yourself. But this knowing yourself, and I want to echo this as a first graduate in my family, as the first person to enter the gates of a university in my family. So for someone who would say, but it's my first time, I know nothing about this space. There are many people who want to see you succeed than fail. So remind yourself of that. Remind yourself that if you want to thrive, you need to allow yourself to be vulnerable. You need to allow yourself to be authentic. And if you look at those two things, that's where also the mentor plays a role. Because for you to be able to get the best, or what we call the value add on the mentorship and also on the coaching, it's when you are authentic. Because if you are not authentic, it's going to be a difficult journey. And you'll hear people, my dear doctor said here, I came to CPUT and I was able to thrive. And she's black. And I presume as you were sharing how many years back you were very young. Probably very thin also at that time. And probably very short at that time. But why am I echoing all those things? When you know yourself, you don't compete with other people. You compete with yourself. And so many of us are competing. There was a time, I don't know what has happened, probably success have happened sideways in my life, and hence I am the way that I am. But I knew when I was a student, I could pull a jet. We still have jet. A jet jean, and I knew that it will suit me. And there will be someone who will be wearing a Levi's jean or a DH jean that is very expensive, but it didn't suit them. But the most important thing is that you know why you are here. So I'm going to run like a marathon because I'm cognizant of the time. I think the previous speakers have alluded the fact of intersectionality, that as we are engaging as women, we come with different experiences. And these experiences are defined by different social identities. And these identities could be, we are talking about women, but we cannot afford to universalize women because as we are women, we are different because we have different experiences. There's someone who comes from Kandule. There's someone who comes from Camps Bay. It's two different worlds. The class factors are different, the race factors might be different, the gender factors might be different, the nationality factor might be different, and that defines the experience in these corridors of this university. But let's go back to coaching and mentorship. Why is it important? Why is it needed in this particular space? It is stated that having a coach is having what we call the sounding board. Someone that you can talk to. Someone who is willing to listen. But there's a difference between a coach and a mentor. The coach does a lot of questioning. The mentor does a lot of providing answers. The coach wants you to have the answers. The coach wants to probe you so you begin to think and reflect about your action, to begin to unlock that is within you. But when we talk about the mentor, I always say it's the same as sitting on the shoulders of a giant. Purely because the giant has been there, has walked the walk. The coach does not necessarily have to be someone who has walked the walk, but someone who can help you to unlock that is within you. But the mentor is someone who holds your hand, who says, brightness, it can be done. Brightness, I've walked this journey. Brightness, these are my experiences. And from my experiences, you can learn and you can be better than what I am. And this is the reality of where we find ourselves in. This is what we call the socio-ecological model. But I thought it's interesting to just reflect on it. That as a student, unfortunately, I don't have a pointer. There you are, at the lower center, which is as an individual. So when you come in this space, you come with your own value systems, you come with your belief systems, you come with your feelings, you come with your attitude. Matikizela said, your latitude will be determined by your attitude. So your success is defined by your attitude. But here's the reality. How the mentor and the coach plays a critical role is that they introduce you to the different layers or different systems that you find yourself in. You find yourself the macro system. It's more of an interpersonal engagement, people that you'll be engaging with on a day-to-day basis. You find yourself at what we call the mesosystems level, that is at the group level, where you interact with the team, discussion that takes place, teamwork, and so forth. And then also you find yourself in what we call the exosystem. The exosystem, it's an institution. Some of us, we are lost in this institution. That's a question of many students. Where do I start? Who do I speak to? What do I do? And that's the role the mentor plays. And the last layer, Matikizela said, it is because of my lecturer that I was able to get employment. And that's where we go outside of the institution. That is what we call the macro system. The macro system, that is where we talk about the personal factors, political factors, economic factors, social factors, and so forth. But what is important is that you will be working in the macro space. And when we talk about the digital space, a colleague of mine just presented to you from the University of Leeds. How do you leverage on the digital space to get the mentors? And this is where social media comes into play. We don't use social media just for selfies. We use social media to connect with people who can help us thrive and achieve our career goals. And maybe just to come to a close, I'm not sure how much time I have, to come to the core of my presentation, why there is a need for mentorship and coaching in the spaces that we find ourselves in, is that there is power of support through mentorship and coaching. From everything that I've narrated, from everything that has been shared by the previous speaker, what you need to appreciate, your mentor will provide what we call the informational support. Some of us are not thriving because we don't have access to information. We don't have access to opportunities. It is that mentor who will provide those opportunities. And I always say having a mentor, having a coach, it's more like having 4 ears or having 6 ears or having 4 eyes, because you are no longer looking alone. There is someone who is helping you to look around for opportunities. So, the informational support, they provide you with knowledge. Sometimes they teach you. Sometimes they direct you where to go without giving you information, but telling you, you know what, this information that you are looking for, you can get at this particular person or at this particular place. It's also about sharing experiences. Sometimes it feels both brightness, they are standing here, they have it all together. It has not always been like this. So sometimes we only tell the firsts, the pioneers, but we are not telling what happened before I became a pioneer. And that's where the mentor, the coach comes into play. The emotional support, when the going gets tough, that moment when you feel that this is not a place for me, that moment when you feel you are alone, that moment when you feel you want to cry, I can still imagine some of you studied your matric during the period of the COVID. That was not a nice place to find yourself in. Besides the COVID, there was also a lockdown. Beside the lockdown, there was a load shedding. There was a load that you had to deal with. But importantly, having someone that you can talk to, having someone that can listen to you, very critical. How many? Okay. Okay. So let's go to the third one. The mentor also helps you with your self-esteem. That's where the Zazi, know thyself, it's very important. And how? The mentor captures your intrinsic value. You begin now to realize who you are. When there's someone saying, you know, Sibusi, you can do this. You've got this. You get that confidence. Remember that confidence and courage is an emotion. Once your emotions are tuned in, psychologically also you are tuned in. And once emotionally and psychologically, then that influences your behavior. And then also we have the social network. Nothing as powerful as having someone refer you to their social capital. It's like saying somewhere we're alluding to the fact to say, thank you, brightness. It's like, you know what, Nonkosi, there is this someone who can step in when it comes into this issue. That's what mentors does. So just imagine how much you are missing if you're not leveraging on that. Also, mentor provide what we call tangible or instrumental support. The instrumental support, that time when you do your assignment and you begin to say, ek wonder, I don't know what's happening, I don't know wat begin ek, and then just sharing it. Having someone who can go through that assignment. And that's what mentors do. Sometimes the mentor even provide financial support. They can actually see, baby, your lips are dry. What's happening? What's happening? And they provide that support. But what is important with that is that it's a space of trust, it's a space of love, it's a space of care. And then lastly, they provide what we call the appraisal. The appraisal, that is where someone is providing you truthful feedback. You know, when you get that critical feedback, and you can actually know that this is meant to construct me, not distract me. And then maybe I should come to a close. I wanted to link the mentorship to this, but I want to conclude and say, they said it's minus, not plus for me. To increase diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, mentorship and coaching should be part of student development, and it should use an intersectional lens to be more effective. There is no way that we can continue with the blanket approach with doing the intervention that we are using within our organization. And then it is important that the focus should not be just on the coachee, but factors who is coaching, who is mentoring, and also the environment. And lastly, we have a responsibility to provide access to quality education and training for success. Thus, as we celebrate Women's Month, I believe that coaching and mentoring is part of creating inclusion in our higher education space. So I have this ask, that is the question. Belonging is everyone's responsibility. What are you pledging to do today to ensure an enabling work and study space for all? Thank you very much.
What a task that I have today. And fortunately, because we do have the Varsity Shield Cup, and the technical team needs to start moving the equipment to the stadium. So we're going to jump straight to the panel discussions. And do you have enough mics there? Will they share? Okay. And I'd really just want to ask the panel members if you could just share your views as briefly as possible. I do apologize for all this. I'm the one person who's got the toughest job for today. So on the panel, ladies and gentlemen, we do have Thandekile Ndlovu, an SRC member who will talk on women in leadership. We've got Ayabonga Sawula from the Amajita, he for she ambassador, and he'll be looking at men as allies in women empowerment. And of course, Chitso Mosolodi, Snake Nation Africa director and co-founder, who look at opportunities for women in tech. And let us start with Thandekile Ndlovu, who's an SRC member. Unfortunately, I'm only giving you 5 minutes. You've listened to the speakers today. You understand the theme that talks about inspiring inclusivity. In your experience, what have you seen as far as women in leadership in this day and age?
Good afternoon to everyone, and thank you for this opportunity. Greeting all the stakeholders in the House. Firstly, we would like to say, as we speak about women in higher education and inclusivity, we should think about all the women in Palestine and in Congo who do not get this opportunity to be in such spaces. We need to become their voices and speak for them. What inspires inclusivity in my role as an SRC member, but also as a member that has played a role in other leadership positions within this university? What we've noticed is that there still needs to be a voice of women doing better and things like inclusivity and doing better. What I'm speaking about is that most of the time, based on the patriarchal structures, is that when we as women get the opportunity to be on top, we start turning down on other women, as you have said. We do not support each other, but we also then seek validation from men in order for us to remain relevant. What that does then is that we betray our own that we need to be the voices for. Not only that do we need to be the voices of people far in Palestine and Congo and wherever, but what happens to our brothers and sisters who are in CPUT? How many of us are speaking about inclusivity, and how many of us are looking to making sure that sanitary pads are not just things that we give them whenever we want, but there should be something that is a basic need that is given in all residences. That is the inclusivity we're looking to have, and that is what I need to make sure that we do also as SRC.
Thank you very much for that. I do want us to give a round of applause to all the gents and men who are present here. It is an absolute honor that we see men being present in occasions of this nature. And with that, we are going to move right along to Ayabonga. Ayabonga, women have spoken. You've heard all the women that spoke today about inclusivity, challenges, and so forth. What are the men saying as far as ensuring inclusivity of women in literally everything?
Thank you very much. I don't know why I'm nervous. I'm not like this every day, but maybe it's because of the themes and the day that we're celebrating. I always believe that in the space of activism and advocacy, most especially now that we're celebrating international women, or we're celebrating women internationally, I would have wanted us as men to sit down, and listen today. But because also of the fact that men also need to be part of change, also need to add and contribute to what the society is trying to achieve. Most importantly, let's base it at CPUT for an example. I think we do need to give a round of applause for the university's management. on the appointment of the Dean of Students as a woman, on the elections of the SRC president as a woman, on the appointment of the Dean of the Faculty of Health and Wellness Sciences as a woman. So I see those as important contributions to the advocacy work that we're doing. But what can men really do as a contribution themselves? I believe that we have not done enough as CPUT men or as men in South Africa, because what I had found out is that women in STEM are either underpaid or are discriminated by gender, or there are certain jokes that are made about women in workplace, or at some point we sort of create something called boys club. For an example, if you look at the BEE now, it's more of a boys club. None of its objectives are for women, and each and every person who is within the BEE is employing their brothers, their cousins, their stepfathers, their stepbrothers, and so forth. But there is no development and empowerment of women. But then, in the scheme of things, what would it be as a responsibility of a man, or where do I see myself in the picture of advocacy? What is important for me is to, firstly, before I even speak of how people are being oppressed in Ghana, for an example, there was a bill that was passed last week where people who are homosexuals cannot really express themselves, and therefore that also contributes and takes us 100 steps back to what we would have achieved as a society. What is important, I believe, as a man in the space of advocacy is that at some point we need to look at what is it that we have gained because we are men. What is it that I have today because I'm a man? What is it that I have benefited because I'm a man? And I use that to empower the next woman. I use that to empower the next girl. Because, in the STEM field, we're speaking of in the STEM field, it was confirmed later this week that many teachers in the STEM subjects, either in high schools or in primary schools, are men. And if it's a woman, it would be someone who has been doing that for like 20, 40 years. What happens to young women empowerment? And of course, the question that you're asking is not a question that can be answered in conferences. It's not a question that can be answered in dialogues. It's a question that we need to answer by practical examples that we need to set outside. It cannot be right for me to watch another man abusing his girlfriend. It cannot be right for me to watch another person making remarks and behaviors that are either rapey behaviors or oppressive behaviors. I should start having these discussions either in shuttles, in residences, and in toilets. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. It is, again, that clarion call that says, let us practice what we preach. It's not about sitting in these spaces. These spaces are designed for us to remember, but let's go out there and be in action. Chito, you are a trailblazer in the tech space. And we've been listening here that there's still a whole lot of inequalities as far as gender is concerned in the space. What are you doing? You are the director and founder of Snake Nation Africa. What's happening in your space, and what has your organization done to create opportunities for women?
Super, thank you. We'll start with the video. Very short.
The world is changing, Mfethu. Every day, more diverse, more connected, more vocal. Where those that run the culture run the internet, and those that set the trends are running their own economies. A new day demands a new solution. Today, we're at a crossroads. Africa is becoming the world's largest trade area, where the challenges are significant, but the opportunities are massive. With 1 billion people coming online and the youngest workforce globally, the stakes are high. Payments friction and lack of opportunity fuels youth unemployment and poverty. These challenges threaten to limit the growth of Africa. In the needs of millions of young creators globally. Snake Nation is built to address these challenges and help diverse creators build their audience, distribute creative product, and monetize their work in the global creative economy.
M2 is now a global youth culture. Multicultural millennials are media test makers, super social, and most diverse generation ever. They are culturally connected, mainstream influencers. M2 have a massive buying power, yet their diverse culture is not reflected in traditional media or technology. Snake Nation empowers youth to co-create through our university societies, social studios, and online platforms. A unique machine built to manifest more opportunities and give rise to new voices and new narratives.
Thank you. So most of the activities that will be rolling out in CPUT, they will be pinned to FID and student development affairs. And I'm pinning more on FID because we basically want to push more women to tell women's stories. We want to push more women to lead in developing technologies. And then we also want to bring forth the opportunities to basically plug those activities. Like currently we've got your African Continental Free Trade. We're in talks with them for rolling out their activities in university campuses, bringing exposure to some of the activities that are happening. And then within that, you've got trade women. So with the Queen Trade, our play is making sure that we're setting up the women in tech structures within university campuses. This is something that we tested with Kaiser Chiefs a couple of years ago, and then after seeing that women were not participating in most of the activities that we are rolling out. So we had to be intentional about setting up the quantum structures, which are women-focused university, women in tech, and women in business structures. And then with the dean, we started like looking into the creative economy and seeing opportunities and really lack of people of color in those industries. Like if you take advertising industry, for example, a massive industry, that industry alone has only 98% whites, and you're looking at about 2% blacks. And you zoom deeper in that 2%, you'll find that women, they have less than 30%. So ours now, it's setting up those structures within university campuses, bringing those opportunities closer to students, giving students briefs, and then so that they can basically start tackling issues from outside. And I know with most of the projects that we're doing, exposure, taking, again, students to your Advertising Week Africa, the prof from FID will basically tell you that 60-70% of people that needs to go there, it needs to be women, you know. So that's basically the criteria that we're using to select. But zooming into activities, we're basically bringing more and more opportunities around African Continental Free Trade into the student spaces.
And that is leadership in practice. We do like that because it's not only just talking about the plans, but activities that are currently happening and to bring it more home that will be happening at CPUT as well. I don't want to just close out the audience. Can we just take 2 comments or questions only from students, please? Before we close, not senior students, like students. So we can take just 2 comments from the floor, literally as we sum up this amazing day that we've had. Any hands? Okay, there's one hand over there. There's a hand over there. We're looking for a small hand. You can go ahead.
I would like to ask about the mentoring thing. How does it work? Like, where do we get them in case we need help? Like, how do we get access to them? Do we send them emails? Or like, because to me, it was something that is very important for us as students. I feel like as we go out like to the industries, we need to be able to be aware of what's going on there, because I've been in an intern before, like I'm a returning student, like I've been at the industry, and it was chaotic because I had no clue, I had no mentor, so I understand when Miss Bright was telling us that like it's the mentoring is very important. I know it's very important because I needed one, and it was really like challenging to not having a mentor. So that's why I am asking. I think that can also help others to be aware that mentoring it's a crucial like thing to have as a student.
Okay. Melanie, where do students reach out for mentoring to be paired? I know that the institution does have a program for mentor-mentee, which gets to be linked with hers as well. Where do they go?
Okay, sorry, I was just clarifying if I should respond. So we do have a program for young women called Empower Her. Just by interest, how many of you have heard about Empower Her? Okay, so there's a fair few of you that have heard about Empower Her. I encourage you to come make contact with me. We did have a sign-up sheet at the Student Development Office or table. There was a QR code that you need to scan, and you just need to indicate which program you are interested in, and we will contact you. We have just, through HERS SA and our Human Capital, trained 30 staff members who have volunteered to mentor young women in our Empower Her program. There's one of our mentors waving her hands. If there are any others, please raise your hand. Yes, yes, yes. So we've had 30 staff members that have volunteered. But I also want to encourage you that find the mentor in your space. If you can't make it as part of the Empower Her program, you need to go and approach someone that you feel can be a mentor to you, and just start that conversation with them. So you don't have to necessarily be part of a program, but Empower Her is a wonderful program to be part of. And we will be sharing a lot of skills development sessions with you that you can empower yourself through. We've got mentoring, which is one element. We've got leadership. So there's a lot of things that we will offer.
Thank you, Melanie. Let us take the second hand. There's a hand right at the back. Yes, it's yours.
Thank you. Comment, yes. On whatever the speakers have spoken about, and I wanted to say I think it is high time that we start to invest more in women and to accelerate them, and we can do that in this institution. And also I wanted to say this: when we become pioneers for change, we need to do so inclusively. So when we need to include everyone who is aligned to women, and also we need to include the LGBTQI members. We need to be intentional about the change that we want to see. We also need to be intentional about everything that we are doing. Women are powerful and women are strong and capable. So for you to lower your standards or skills will give men the power, because at the end of the day, we cannot shy away from the fact that men are using whatever power they were given and are running with it. So when we have 5 that want to change, we can use that to change the world. So that is the power. That is the power that we can use, and we can use that technically in whatever spaces that we are in. Thank you very much.
I think that concurs with Dr. Matikizela saying that do what you can where you are with whatever that you have. Ladies and gentlemen, students, staff, those who are joining us online, it has been an absolute pleasure to be with you, to spend this auspicious occasion with you. Once again, my name is Andy Swamkhasi, and happy International Women's Day. Do have yourself a wonderful afternoon further. Thank you.
Please also, yes, we are done. Please also, I'm going to put up a slide of some conversations that will be taking place, so you can keep an eye out for them. Just give me a second. So please look out for this, and please like CPUT's Facebook page, CPUT Student Affairs Facebook page. We do post on there. We do post on Newsflash. So please keep an eye out for further communication. Thank you, everyone. That's the end of our session. Please, if I can ask you to just create an orderly line as you go out, you can grab some refreshments. We're going to ask that you grab and go. We unfortunately have to set up for Varsity Shield. Only exit on the left, my left, your right, and create an orderly line, please. So just pop in email and just tell